The Kent School District Board meetings are held in public on the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. at the Administration Center in accordance to the Washington State Open Public Meetings Act. Regular meetings include presentations and reports dealing with district operations, as well as time set aside for public comment. Now, here are your Kent School District Board of Directors. Welcome to tonight's board meeting.
Oh, right on time, too. All right. I'd like to call our meeting to order, please. I've asked Lindsay Bell to help us lead the flag salute, so will you please stand? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Lindsay. Welcome to our meeting. We're actually balanced this time. Last time we had everybody over here, so we're on both sides now. This is a meeting of the board which is held in public to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. We allow opportunity for public comments later in the agenda. If you'd like to address the board, fill out a blue card. It's in the back, on the back table back there, and bring it up to the dais up here at any time. If you wish to speak to an agenda item, please indicate on the card, and your name will be called at that portion of the agenda. You will have 3 minutes. Dr. Watts, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, good evening, President DeBruler, members of the board, Ms. Everett. There are changes that have been made to the agenda. A supplemental personnel report was added to the consent agenda. A travel authorization was also added to the consent agenda today to comply with the timeline for an approval for out-of-state student excursions, and printed copies are before you on the dais.
Karen, I don't have any additions, but I have a child care issue. I don't think we'll be later than 8:30, but if we're not, I need to leave at 8:30 to pick up a kid.
All right, thanks. We'll try to move things along. So we need a motion to add the supplemental personnel report and the travel authorization to the consent agenda.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Moving on to the recognition portion of our agenda. This is the proclamation that is American Education Week. So I would like to read that. Whereas public education is the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality, and whereas by equipping young Americans with both practical skills and broader intellectual abilities, schools give them hope for and access to a productive future, and whereas public education employees, be they educators, substitute educators, higher education faculty and staff, custodians, teachers, administrators, bus drivers, clerical workers, food service professionals, skilled trades workers, health and student service workers, security guards, technical employees, librarians, educational staff, associates, or other support staff work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. And whereas public schools are the foundation of neighborhoods and communities, bringing together adults and children, educators and volunteers, business leaders and elected officials in a common purpose. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Kent School District proclaim the week of November 13th through the 19th, 2016 as American Education Week in the Kent School District, and urges all citizens to join us in this observance. So we have Brad Brown, Dr. Eric Hong, Dr. Millicent Borshade, come up and accept the proclamation.
Yeah, all the educators.
We'll do pictures, I think. We'll get everybody up there, everybody who's involved up there. So here's the proclamation. We appreciate everything that you do, and all of you out there who are so named in this proclamation. We appreciate everything that you do. So Anybody want to say anything?
On behalf of the entire district, which includes all of us, thank you very much.
Our other proclamation is National Native American Heritage Month, and Russ Hanscom will read that proclamation.
Yeah, and just before I do, I thought and I did this last year, inform the audience and my colleagues the significance of the Native American population within Washington State. And we have 29 tribes in Washington State. Out of the 50 states, Washington ranks 10th with the number of Native Americans living within the state. It's also very known that Native Americans as an ethnic group have more members in the U.S. military and have fought in more wars than any other ethnic group in the United States. So military service is a huge part of the Native American culture. The last fact I've heard numerous times, but I don't know if it's true, but it's still important to point out, especially given what's been going on with our country in the last 6 months to a year, that Native Americans are the highest ethnic group to be killed by law enforcement. So it's still an issue with many of our ethnic groups, but as I read this proclamation, I thought it would just be important to point out those facts. National Native American Heritage Month. And I should say, the reason I am reading this is that I'm incredibly blessed and fortunate to be able to be working in the Puyallup tribe. And it's a remarkable opportunity to really be a minority. It is an eye-opening experience that is indescribable. So that's why I was selected today to read this. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by the American Indians and indigenous peoples, and whereas the contributions of the American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, not as much as it should, but it's coming. Whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George H. Bush in August 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. Proclamations under variants on the name, including Native American Heritage Month and National American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month, have been issued each year since 1994. And whereas, in honor of National Native American Heritage Month, community celebrations, as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Kent School District proclaims the month of November as National Native American Heritage Month in the Kent School District and urges all citizens to join in this observance.
And Teresa Lockram and others, come on up. You're dressed so beautifully.
Members of the board, Dr. Watts, Ms. Everett, President DeBrulo, I just wanted for the audience to know, Teresa Lockram is our Native American academic and cultural liaison, who's been doing wonderful work here under the supervision of Ronna Pop and Randy Heath, and she has some introductions that she'll be making tonight.
Little Chish, thank you. I have special guests here. I'd like Matt to introduce himself real quick, please.
Madakiapi, Chante Washtea Napechu Zepelo, Wakia Wanatan, Amachiapelo, Ya Waslaha Matahayalo, Ate Wayagi Charles Remley, Ina Wayagi Donna Harrison. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to come and participate here tonight. My English name is Matt Remley. My Lakota name is Wakiawanatan. I'm from Standing Rock, but I live in Seattle, and I actually work for the Marysville School District in the Office of Indian Education at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. And so thank you for making this proclamation tonight.
Okay. You explain your beautiful
Okay.
bit.
All right, so this is called regalia that we're wearing. I am adopted Tlingit, and I'm also Cherokee Eastern Band Long Hair Clan. But this is a Tlingit design. I'm of the Raven moiety. My native name is Gagan Uxi, which means ray of sunlight. And I have my friend Sandra here, and she's Haida.
Brown Bear House, and so all the designs on my blanket represent who I am, and I put a baby in each of the bellies to represent my 3 children. I also work for the Seattle.
Sandra it happens to be the Native American program's Parent Culture Night as well. So when we're done here, we're running over and having our Parent Culture Night, where we have special guests like Sandra. She's a children's author, and so she'll be speaking to our parents tonight, as well as Rachel Mears here in the front, who's from the University of Washington, and she's a recruiter for our students to come on and do your college. So I wanted to say mahalo for this, and thank you, and gonol chish. I also would like to know if I can read my resolution to you, to the school board. You have to take opportunities, right, when you have them. So, thank you. I would like to propose a resolution to implement Indigenous Peoples Day into the Kent School District, declaring the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day, and encouraging other institutions to recognize the day, and reaffirming the school district's commitment to promote the well-being and growth of Kent's American, Indian, and Indigenous community. This resolution utilizes the Kent District's blueprint, Leaning Forward Together 2016-2021 plan, underlining strategic goal number 2, engage parents, students, staff, and community in two-way communications focused on equity and excellence. So there you are. This, okay. And I'm going to give, do you want me to give you, and you can give everyone one? 3, 4, 5.
And we'll do photos. Why don't, since you guys have to run,
Right.
we'll do you first and
Yes, thank you.
and with the board. And
And I have my parents to join us for a picture, please. Thank you. Come on, parents and students. The Native program.
So you're in Seattle? I don't know if she'll be there. Big group, so get friendly.
Gotta squish in. You want to sit in the front?
Have to be in front of, we're not gonna be able to see it.
Thank you all for coming.
Saturday. I'm actually helping David organize that, yeah. Are you going to come down?
Sandra's going to sing us a song real quick.
Great guy.
The song is called "I'm a Child."
recorded.
That is correct, too.
I was quite certain, but I verified it.
Uh-oh, my kids are there. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Did you see that? I thought it worked out great.
Passing down the resolution that Teresa.
Oh, good, that's nice. Copies
Yeah.
for us.
Okay, we're moving on to the discussion and approval section. 3.01, Inclusive Education Agency Staff Contracts. We need a motion to approve the agency contracts totaling $316,000 for the 2016-17 school year.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have any discussion or questions?
Is this already budgeted? Okay.
Yes, oh, okay. I didn't look up fast enough, I guess. Okay. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor? Oh,
Sorry,
nope,
just
okay.
one last comment, and I think I've mentioned it before, that I know that a lot of these agency contracts have a no hire clause in them, but at some point, I would see if we could strengthen our negotiation position to either reduce the amount that we have to pay the agency or eliminate it. And if there's competitive contracts out there, to maybe leverage that. Because nothing's more frustrating than finding a really great person who wants to work here and then having to pay $100,000, which we probably wouldn't do. So if we could ever revisit at these opportunities, that would be great. Best interest for the district, the employee. It's tough on the agency. I get it. So maybe there's a little wiggle room there, but just for future agency contracts.
Absolutely. Duly noted.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the agency contracts totaling $316,000 for the 2016-17 school year, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right. 3.02, approval of the final acceptance BPCI Earthworks LLC. We need a motion to approve the final acceptance for the top building site work revised project for which BPCI Earthworks LLC was the general contractor.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have any discussion or questions? Not hearing any. All those in favor of approving the final acceptance for the top building site work revised project for which BPCI Earthworks LLC was the general contractor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. On to the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull any items for discussion?
I'm just looking at mine.
No, I
Might as
did
well
not.
It's our
relaxed.
thing. It's our thing. I got to stay
Doing
consistent.
well. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so moving on to the informational section, 5.01, the first reading of revisions to policy 5010, non-discrimination policy 5011, affirmative action, and policy 5013, sexual harassment. No actions required on this. Do we have any questions on these?
I just want to make sure I understood. I read through it all a couple times, and I think I got it, but let me just clarify. Or if it, tell me if I don't have it right. So I know that we had reviewed this and made some revisions last school year, and then it looks like that we weren't consistent with the WASDA model policy, and so now we're renaming and sort of moving things around to be consistent, but the content really isn't changing.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, maybe I'll just ask sort of what's our, just so I totally understand, because I know that looking at the policies is important to the board, and we just went through that ourselves looking at them. And then we know that staff will be looking at them too, and that we compare them to WASDA. But maybe if I could learn a little more sort of about what the process is, especially in terms of like if new laws come out, or do we always go look at WASDA when they're being presented to the board for a revision?
So WASDA is our, we'll say our gold standard, if you will. And the process allows us to standardize what our expectations are. Policy is certainly the how, and then in terms of what we do, that is our procedure. What has taken place over time is that school districts have had a hard time discerning between what is supposed to be acted upon based on policy, and policy should be the guide, and the procedure should be the day-to-day. Sometimes individuals get that mixed up and puts themselves in districts and individuals in vulnerable positions. So what we're seeing now is a standardization, and we follow WASDA's, their recommendations.
This is just for the students or anybody else who doesn't know what WASDA is. It's the acronym, the initials for Washington State School Directors Association. So all the school board members in the state of Washington belong to WASDA, and they're kind of our guiding principal body.
So I guess I would like to make a recommendation, and I know we have done this in the past, that when we do change things that have been approved, we know what those changes are being made, whether it's underlined or underscored, because it reads pretty much the same, and so I'm not sure if there were any significant changes.
Unless they're
noticeable.
And you know when there are changes made, we'll either strike through or additions would be underlined, so absent of that.
So while aligning it to WASDA, we're not really making any changes, it's just that it's in a formatting.
Correct, for the first reading as well.
Okay, thank you.
So the format's different for the first reading, and then we get it?
No,
it's renumbered and changed the title, but the content, the text within the body of it hasn't changed.
So I might have pointed that out when I did finish my review finally. So with these three examples, there's two different formats, and I know it's really not my personality, but because there are policies, I would really like them to all look the same. Right, the book section title number, references, the way they're indexed at the bottom, the way that they're reviewed at, revised by how they're done that way. So there's just, I think two of them are the same and one's different.
The one is the WASDA.
Right.
The other two are
Ours.
Yeah. So.
And based on WASDA's policies.
Yeah, almost.
So in terms of formatting, that's something we can certainly take a look and format.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on that? Okay, then moving on to 5.02, the General Fund Object Expenditure Summary Report. No action required. It's information only. Any questions there?
Not now.
No? You left off one. Oh, okay. Yes, you did. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Not hearing any, we'll move on to 5.03, which is the August 2016 financial statement. Do we have any questions or comments about that?
Just a comment. I am still very concerned about our fund balance. I know we've talked about it and what we're going to do in regards to that, but the number's really low. Doesn't make me feel very comfortable, so.
Any other comments or questions?
Oh, sorry.
No, I guess I will say that I appreciate our business office, all the work they've done on this, and we have been given information about our fund balance, so it's not a shock or surprise. And we can be concerned, but it's really up to our legislators to get going. So until that happens, we really don't have much to say about this. So I just want to say it's, if we're questioning, it's not anything that the school is not doing. We just need to wait and see what happens with our state. So.
Yeah, and I did not mean it to come across negatively. I know it's being worked on. I'm just saying it is a concern. I did have one question, though, in regards to that, knowing that with bonds coming up and selling bonds, fund balance, I know is something that's looked at when that happens. And I don't know if we have any speculation at this point yet of what that may impact when we actually go to sell anything,
So while we don't necessarily know what the specific impact, we do know what the possible implications are. If the fund balance is at a certain level, that certainly could impact ratings, but we do not have that,
Okay,
that
that's
final
fine.
decision yet.
Thank you.
Any others? We don't have any communication from the audience at this point in time, so we'll move on to our superintendent's report.
All right.
Dr. Watts?
President Brewer, members of the board, Ms. Everett, staff, friends, and family, let me just say what a difference a few months can make, what a difference the planning, the making sure that our internal stakeholders are engaged, informed, and truly understanding what it means to embrace civic duty and responsibility by voting. And certainly, I don't know that we've ever had a more interesting political season and one that's more impactful to this community. So in April, we do know that our bond did not pass, and we did not hang our heads. We simply said, we're not going to waste this opportunity, this crisis, if you will, and we planned and changed our plans accordingly to the tune of 65.24% as of yesterday. It was an amazing display of team effort, community consensus and support, and we thank you from school district, certainly from our community, building the future for our children, our teachers, our families, our leaders, our board, and could not be more proud. And now the hard work continues as we continue this lifelong campaign. Secondly, I'd like to cough and then be reminded of November 19th as we think about tonight the rich and richly diverse community that we serve. Our Black and Brown Summit, November 19th, 2016 at Highline College. It's entitled Reviving Our Roots Through Courageous Conversations. And this is an opportunity for some of our young men who are empowered, who are motivated. And as I've said often before, if I don't see me, how do I know that I can be me? And there are individuals who are there who are providing great mentorship for our young men. And so I plan to be there to support some of our students, certainly some of our students who live in the South County area. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the culture of giving that we are continuing to impart in the Kent School District. And that's, again, creating and building a culture of mutual respect. United Way campaign is underway. Began on October 31st and runs to November 23rd. And our goal is to increase the amount that we are giving, and we have opportunities to do so, not just for United Way, for our communities and schools, for our Citizens for Kent campaign. And we are pleased and proud. And for United Way, there is an opportunity for Seahawk fans to actually, based on their giving, to be in the running for an autographed football from Bobby Wagner, one of the star players of the Seahawks. Not that that means anything more than giving, but certainly we're proud to.
Little incentive.
Yes, a little incentive. Proud to continue that campaign for our community. With that said, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fox.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily starting at one end or the other. Does anybody want to start?
I'll go. I'm pretty quick.
Okay.
I really did want to thank the staff that went to, and Dr. Watts and other board members that, spent their Saturday mornings at the Golden Steer working on the bond campaign. It just incredibly thankful. The dedication doesn't go unnoticed or definitely unappreciated. I just really, really appreciate the amount of time that so many staff members put into that. I'm really excited, and I really do want to thank my board members for being bold and going for, a renewable amount at $252 million. It gives us a lot of options, and I really hope that, I know we've got our list, and I know that list moves around a little bit, but I think there's some really great opportunities for us to make the grounds of our schools and our schools look better. And I've really noticed that lately in the Kent community, that a lot of stuff's kind of gotten run down, and it doesn't look very good when you start paying attention. And there's no reason that this community shouldn't look just as nice as many of the other communities that surround us. So I'm really hoping that when we start thinking about how to spend these resources as wisely as possible, that we really pay attention to beautification. So that's my little pitch for that. And the small things make a huge difference. I don't know if it's because as a parent I've gotten other parents to say things, but school pictures are out and the quality is dramatically improved. There was wide variation among the schools because it was kind of a school-based decision. And some of the backgrounds looked, like they were taken down at King County Jail versus a really nice portrait studio within the school. So, man, my kids look good, but the photographer and the backgrounds were dramatically improved from years past. So I'm hopeful that all our schools experienced better school portraits. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out or thank you again to everybody who helped with the bond. And it really does make a difference for our schools. So thank you for all the hard work that went into that.
Well, should I keep it going? Because I was going to say that too. So thank you, everyone, internally and externally. And I'm pleased that Highline's bond is passing, and it looks likely for Auburn's too. And it really just shows me that as a greater South King County community, we're coming together for our students. So that's exciting. Been to a couple events lately that were just very inspiring. And so one was, I got to see Karen and her cohort from the district that participated in the University of Washington preschool through third grade Leadership Institute. And we had so many people from Kent that they came up with 2 projects. And it was great seeing other participants' projects and particularly hearing and seeing about the ones from the folks from Kent and just the enthusiasm of our staff that have gone through and hearing how much they learned from going through that. And one of the teams, Karen's team with the preschool bus, Ross Hunter, former representative who's the Department of Early Learning's director, came by and had quite an engaging and long conversation. In fact, we got kicked out of the Gates place because of the conversation, and talking about the importance of duration and amount of hours that kids have in preschool, but seeing maybe this preschool bus as a way to begin to bring families in a comfortable way into connecting with our school district. So that was really exciting. That was that evening, and that morning I also had the opportunity to go to Schools at Washington's annual fundraising breakfast. And so they're focusing on all those times when kids are out of school and providing support to organizations and community partners to extend the learning that kids have during the summer so they don't have reading loss. And I was so reminded of how important it is to have student voice and to see students. So thank you to all of our students who come tonight and are sitting through here. And we hope we get more of you and for you to sign in next time to speak, to tell us what's important to you. And maybe as Maya did with having students come, we can work on arranging to have students come more regularly for our meetings. Because Mary Fratakis was the featured speaker from the Tukwila School Board at this breakfast, and she couldn't bring a student with her, so she had a video of a middle school student who, over the summer, through summer school, his reading increased tremendously, and he was an English language arts student, and so he talked to us, telling us how this really helped him, so that was very inspiring. And tomorrow I'm looking forward to going to the equity convening with other folks from the district to help move that work forward. And I'm hopefully we'll have a chance soon to learn about our equity policy and where we are on that.
Yes.
And then next week I'll be at the WASDA conference, learning things there and bringing back information to share. And then I'll also be, since I'm our representative on the resolutions committee, and the body will be deciding on some long-term sort of positions that WASDA has. And so I'll be a part of that, helping that process while I'm there. So look forward to that opportunity. And that's it. Maya?
Okay, I will also thank everyone for their work on the school bond. I just want to say a couple of things. One, our teachers and our educators and administrators, they do a lot of things behind the scenes, but we don't hear about it. And so I just want to really thank our teachers and administrators for putting in the time. I also want to say really a special thanks to our Mr. Newman and business team. I have heard so many great things about how great it's been to work with the new team, new leadership, and that's so important because not only to pass the bond, but moving forward in implementation, it's going to be really important that there's a good working relationship with the community as well. And so I just want to make sure we acknowledge that and also our supportive community. So that said, I had a chance to go to Covington for their economic development planning and unveiling, and I am so impressed with what Covington is doing. If you haven't had a chance to understand the growth and the development that's going to take place, take a look at their website, city website, and it's very ambitious. I mean, it's great news for our district. Growth means good news for development and assistance for our kids. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I had a chance to go to the Mother Africa event down on Kent Senior Center with Dr. Watts also there. And one of the young gentlemen said, In the development world, there's a quote that if you educate a man, you educate an individual. If you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And it was so telling to see, the women who have somehow, really empowered themselves to learn not only the English language, but how to drive, how to become self-sufficient in this country, and all the opportunities this country affords us to be independent. And so that was really powerful to see that immigrants aren't coming here and taking money away. They want to be contributing citizens, and so it was a great demonstration of that. I also went to the scholarship fund for the New Beginnings Christian Fellowship Church, and I got a chance to sit with Principal Cleveland and several other principals, and I just want to say I'm so thrilled to hear some of her plans, to bring the kids who are on the verge of dropping out or who aren't attending classes, and they're going and knocking on doors. And I said I'd volunteer to go, and if it's on a Saturday, I'll be there, I can't think of anything better to do than get our kids back into school. So if anybody else wants to join when that happens,
sign me up.
I just think it's a great opportunity for all of us, because our kids, it shows how much we value them and we want them back in school. And so I encourage you to get in touch with Principal Cleveland if you're interested. And then finally, I appreciated our last board superintendent and governance team meetings and our discussion on PLCs and what, as a board superintendent team, we can do to strengthen that.
Thank you, Maya. I'm also going to attend the Achieving Educational Racial Equity Through Policy and Beyond tomorrow. So you're going, Agda, and everybody else? No,
Working.
You're working. You're being
to work.
All right, good, all right.
Vacation
So
day.
looking forward to that. Also would like to thank all of our staff and, in some cases, students who worked on the bond, and particularly the voters, the people who believe in us and believe in education as just the cornerstone. Agda gave a really good play-by-play of my University of Washington P3 executive leadership class. No, that's fine. But we had 10 people that were representing Kent School District, and going to arrange either a presentation time during one of our meetings in December or a work session or something so that both of our groups can present to the board and the rest of the district to see what we did. So I'm really happy that all that work is done. Well, it started. The preschool bus is not done. We've got to, now we've got to implement it. So, but the whole idea of it is pretty exciting. I have been invited to join the Board of Communities and Schools along with Damon Hunter. So we're both getting started at the same time on that, and I'm looking forward to doing that. They wanted some representatives from the school district, and so that would be us. And I feel kinship with them since I'm mentoring 3 students.
Oh, gosh.
One of them, we're not working through communities and schools anymore, but she's at Highline, and we're still working through some issues there as far as financial aid that I'm going to go with her on the 15th to a meeting and help support her so that she make sure she gets her college-bound aid. My other 2, one's at KPA, one's at Emerald Park, and I'm enjoying working with both of them, so, and seeing progress. So, Dr. Watts, you have a final comment?
I do. Thank you for allowing me. By the numbers, there are 295 school boards in the state of Washington. There are 1,477 school board members in the state of Washington. This year, 24 of those boards are going to be honored as boards of distinction at this year's WASDA Washington State School Directors Association annual meeting in Spokane. And a year ago, I did say, after our school board was honored and awarded for 5 years consecutive school board distinction, our goal was to be in the mix for 6. And it is official. Out of 24 school boards of distinction, I would like to congratulate and say job well done for 6 consecutive years of being honored as School Board of Distinction, for being accountable and open to the public, adopting a collaborative developed plan, strategic plan, employing and supporting quality teachers, administrators, other staff, and providing for professional development, capacity building. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support, and thank you for being a part of Board Superintendent Governance team. Well done. Congratulations.
And
that truly concludes my
How many of the 24 have done 6 in a row?
I do not know, but I'm going to research that.
Okay, thank
and
you.
I will let you know.
Probably not a whole lot. All right, that being said, students, you're really fortunate. We're
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
tonight, so you don't have to go for another 45 minutes.
Sometimes 10:30 at night.
We are adjourned.
You definitely lucked out tonight.